Shane, obviously it's pretty exciting, isn't it? But at the same time, you've got the frustration of really not knowing until pretty close to the game what sort of list you've got.
Yeah, look, it's the landscape of the direct footy at the moment. We're highly aligned to the VFL Roosters list, and we need to probably wait till later in the week before we can nail down a final side.
I think you said yesterday listed 29, but you must be confident in the knowledge that you've got a really good calibre of player at your disposal.
Yeah, we are. We had a discussion as a coaching group last night, and we're really pleased, with the depth of our squad and the way they're, I suppose, gelling together. So it was really a discussion point for us last night, and we're pleased.
Any developments or losses in, say, the last 48 hours has occurred as a result of injury?
No, not so much from Saturday's game. So we've got a fitness test towards the end of the week, but we're pretty good actually.
A fitness test, as in with an individual?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Are you at liberty to tell us?
Oh no, Christian Polo is just a bit sore in the leg, but we expect him to be right to play. So.
Yeah, and where do you see the strength of the side?
Look, I think we've got some running capacity and ball use. One thing we've really identified is we want to be able to kick the footy well, and we've got some quality in that area.
And in terms of what your knowledge is of the Bendigo list, they've lost some of their star players, but no doubt they're going to bring a pretty good side down.
Yeah, the Interleague squad, it's always going to bring quality. So, no matter who's missing, there's always going to be, appropriate backup. So, it's going to be a tight game and a good game of footy.
The conditions they play in, I mean, whilst we haven't had heavy conditions yet this year, the conditions they play in tend to be a bit firmer, faster tracks, and obviously their running game, certainly from the knowledge that I have and the vision that I see, they have a pretty good running sort of game at their disposal. So obviously you're going to need to counter that.
Yeah, look, certainly, and we expect the game to be of a higher intensity and with the skill level. And if they've got that running capacity there, it's going to be an advantage for them on top of the ground. So we expect them to move the ball well as well.
Any key players on their list that you're aware of that you feel like you do need to really contain?
Yeah, look, obviously Sam Mildren's kicked 7 the last 2 weeks and is a quality player. So once again, with forwards, you've got to stop the ball getting down there, and that'll be part of a team effort to try and negate his influence.
And just in terms of the Goldfields rivalry, we know that there's a lot said about that, isn't there? They've been arch rivals over many years, so this is a pretty important one to get.
Yeah, it is. Look, obviously with rivalries, they're probably with past players and past administrators. The current group, they don't really probably embrace it as well, but it's big for the town, and hopefully we get a really good crowd there, given that rivalry.
And mindful too of the fact that a loss slips down the rankings, and at the same time there's a lot of pride within the league at the notion of progressing and maybe contesting once again in a couple of years' time for that number one mantle.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's no doubt the clubs understand, that it affects us as a whole league if we lose. So, it's a big importance for us to win this week.
Yeah, I was going to... Shane, just a bit on that question again. How big's this game in terms of ranking positions? Like, if we lose, where do you see that, the predicament for the league there?
Well, obviously, it's going to hit us back down to, I think that would be this 7-8 game compared to a 3-4 game. So, the nature of the ranking systems means that, it really stings you if you lose. So that's why it's really important to win.
You were involved last year and you copped a pretty heavy defeat. Did you learn anything as a coach from that game at all, in terms of an interleague perspective?
Oh, look, I think the players that played that day learned a fair bit about, quality football. The GB have been renowned as, the best or second best around for the last probably 5-6 years. So great experience for the guys. And as a coaching group, we've been able to take some of those experiences together with the players and move it into this year and try and improve on it.
We're a stronger group this year than we were 12 months ago?
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on why, or maybe why we are?
Look, we've got a couple of the real top end players available this year, which is going to help, and I just feel like there's more leadership and as I mentioned before, the experience of the other guys and gelling together. I just feel like overall we're just a bit more rounded.
Good, thank you. Few to Sully?
Yeah, yep. You fire away, mate. Sorry, I'll just respond to it.
Now, you're involved last year, weren't you? Yeah, Adam. Yeah, thanks for coming in. What did you learn last year? Shane was saying that you're probably a more rounded side. You would have learned a lot from last year. Is there something when you're involved in the Central Highlands and a couple of wins there, what's a key aspect for a successful interleague side?
I think it's the coaching group's made it a real focus over the last couple of years, and we tried to establish it last year, is to make it a real club environment for this interleague campaign. Last year I think we made some inroads into that club environment, but I think this year we've sort of gone further down that track, and training this year has been fantastic, and training last night it was like you were running around a club training again. There's no one really hiding themselves, or everyone's feeling relatively comfortable in their surrounds and in that group, and that's going to be hopefully a real benefit and a real positive for us come Saturday.
Could you speak on behalf, ask Shane the question about how big this game is in terms of ranking perspective? Like, no, that's not lost on the players, I'm assuming, either?
No, not at all. Yeah, as Skontra said, the ranking system's the way they are. If you lose, there's some fairly big impacts on that, going down a couple of spots, and then it takes a number of years then to get back up to where you were. So while it's probably not on the forefront of most of or some of the players' minds in terms of that ranking system, it's certainly not lost on the coaching group and the like, and making sure that we give a really good showing and a strong showing, so that this league continues to be a powerhouse that it has been.
What sort of on-field leader are you, and has that changed since you've had those responsibilities as you've matured as a player?
No, I don't think it's changed a whole lot. I've probably become more comfortable with speaking in front of guys and speaking in front of the groups. I was probably like a few guys in the campaign this year, and a couple of years ago when I was relatively new to Interleague as well, that probably didn't want to stand on anyone's toes. I wanted to make sure I hit every target and made every post a winner. But I think you get more comfortable with the longer you're around some of these surrounds and some of these guys, and it's just a matter of trying to do what you do every week. Every Saturday you just try to do that same sort of thing this week, and hopefully it serves you well.
It sounds like from what you've said that you place a really high emphasis on the idea of familiarity with one another and a real sort of sense of kinship, and that's really going to be critical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is it going to feel an ownership of this?
Yeah, absolutely, and it comes down to that ownership. The playing group has got to really take ownership of what the coaching group's trying to instruct them to do and instruct us to do, and how to deliver those messages, and then it's about the playing group buying into that, taking ownership of that, and then making sure we look after each other out on the field, and making sure it's not just a game of footy, and we're not just there to get a free footy jumper and to play interleague. We're there to actually win the game of footy and look after our mates like we would on a normal Saturday.
And obviously the best representative sides are made up of guys that really want to be there, rather than just the stars of the competition who might be a bit ambivalent to it all. And you're clearly speaking as if there's a real sense of that amongst this list.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been a real focus for the last couple of years for Skontra to really implement that club feel, and to get guys that actually want to be there. Yes, we're probably missing out on a few of the really star-studded players that are unavailable. However, we're not forcing. Everyone who's going to run out there on Saturday wants to be there. Everyone who has been at training so far wants to be there, wants to improve themselves and really push for a spot in the side. And then that's just going to help us come Saturday.
And has there been buy-in by guys that are maybe part of that Eastern Bloc, the Eastern Bloc teams travelling and being a part of it and really committing to the cause, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. There's certainly at training there hasn't been any sort of East and Western groups. It's everyone's mingling really well together, and I think we've got blokes who sort of have been travelling from the other side of Melbourne, sort of East Burwood. I think we've had a fella come up from Jackson Bolton who comes up, so to show that commitment, that's a fantastic commitment by those guys. And yes, it's easy for the Ballarat-based guys to just come to training here in Ballarat and then make up an excuse to go to Darley and vice versa, but that hasn't been the case at all. Everyone's really making an effort, and it's really showing the way we're training and the way we're gelling together.
Does it motivate you more, the fact that you're playing 5th versus 6th with the potential to move forward and the fear of dropping back, or were you contesting the 1 and 2 game? Is there any difference there, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think the carrot there last year was to sort of play off for that, or get into that spot for 1 and 2. And then obviously the carrot's there this year to get to that 3 and 4 spot back again, and then obviously push the following year. So regardless of where you actually sit in the ranking system, I think it's always, you've got that motivation always to improve, because of the consequences are fairly dire if you lose.
And how does this stack up to the week leading into last year's grand final? Just by way of comparison, personally, given the fact that you representing football for some is the pinnacle of their football career.
Yeah. Look, I think you play football to play in grand finals and to win premierships. There's no question about that. The representative side of things is just an added bonus. There's probably been a relatively similar build-up and similar excitement, if you like, to the both weeks. But there's certainly nothing that can beat playing in a grand final and hopefully winning a grand final. Playing representative footy, as you said, is probably some of the best and the highest footy that some of the guys in this league will play this year. We've just got to make sure we make the most of it and really enjoy the day, enjoy the week, and enjoy the day on Saturday.
Great, thank you very much.
Cheers.